Welcome to Psionic Aftermath. We are finally getting underway. Sorry for anyone that was hoping to watch this right on the dot. We had some issues getting started, but I think they've all been resolved. Looks like the players are just going to take a minute to, or actually, maybe one of their casters? I'm not sure. Players appear to be ready, but this is going to be a TVT on Backwater. We conceded the first map because of said issues getting started. So we're going to be fighting an uphill battle. Not too concerning, I hope. And yeah. Let's see here. Anything else of note? Okay. Looks like should be underway. Who's host? Oh, okay. There we go. Alrighty, TVT Backwater. I think there's actually a lot of Terrans today, so maybe unfortunate for my casting, seeing as it's my least understood race. On the plus side, I can talk a little bit about John. Or Goon as it is, but, yeah, we shall see. I'll introduce the players first, and, orbital command centers can call down mules to gather additional resources. Something or other. Okay, spawning in the upper left-hand corner of the map, representing PaniC, it is Dark Sense. And in the bottom right, as the Red Terran, representing PsiX, it is John. Also known as Goon. And I need to fix the overlay, don't I? I'm good at this. There we go. Now you guys can see what's actually going on without too much stuff in the way. Okay. So, Reaper block, otherwise relatively normal opener. We're gonna get the double gas coming out of Goon, so he's gonna look to be more aggressive in the early stages of this game. I anticipate him trying to get into some sort of drop play. He definitely likes his drops. In particular Widow Mines, but I don't think he's gonna use Widow Mine drops at, or, I mean, I say that, but I've seen Goon use a Widow Mine drop in a TVZ, so, like, if you use them there, my thinking is you are inclined to use them anywhere and everywhere you can. CC's gonna go down on the high ground for Dark Sense, doesn't want that to get picked off. Randomly delayed, otherwise some annoying start to the game. Reaper's actually gonna stay at home, sort of, for Dark Sense. Good defensive play coming out of him. And I get a proxy Stargate? Or Starport? Wow. I'm not a Protoss at all. As it is, Cyclone production has begun, as I did say this would be an aggressive tech scene. I thought I fixed it. It should be fixed. Is it not fixed? It looks fixed. Okay. And, wow, I should. At any rate, what happened? Picked off the Reaper, that's nice. Okay, loses his own Reaper, and there's no way for him to get up into the base of Dark Sense with this bunker positioning, and actually, what's producing? Oh, this is the Liberator. Okay, so the Liberator is gonna hook around into the mineral line while he continues to pressure the front. This is actually a really nice contain that he's set up. It's gonna be difficult for Dark Sense to feel comfortable pushing down. He can totally break this if he were to pull his Marines out of said bunker. He might actually just be waiting for these two Hellions. Wow. Cyclones! And with 4 Cyclones, he may look to break out. Behind this, John has taken his CC on the low ground. All in all, this is, actually, this Liberator needs to do some damage. It got 4. I don't know. I mean, this is not a bad position for John. He has his tech developed, more so. Like, he has more production. He has a siege tank. So, like, he's gonna be safe against pretty much anything and everything. And he still has these Liberators that are needlessly taking damage. You know, just... Okay, no targeting on the SCVs. That's okay. Marine count is being reduced. And now we're gonna get more SCV kills. This is actually pretty decent damage for Goon finally kicking in with this last Liberator, as the starport is going to fly home now. 2 siege tanks out for Goon, and with the greater siege tank count, he should be in a pretty okay position overall. Worker supply is slightly in favor of Goon after all that Liberator harass. So I think this is going pretty well now. Little bit of unfortunate. I think he wanted more out of that contain initially, but we're seeing a mech style coming out of Dark Sense, and I feel like John is in a great position. He has the supply advantage, he has a lot of bio, his combat shield is just now starting, and that's like the one thing that he may be wishing he had sooner, but otherwise, nothing wrong. I guess Stim does take a while to start up, especially after such a aggressive opening. So Dark Sense is going to move out with 2 Ravens. These Ravens need to get those interference matrix on the siege tanks. Goon is also going to move out, and I think he should just defend. He's going to see these Hellions and stim for it, actually. Like, he has no reason that he needs to push like this. Interference matrix is going to go down, and Heat Seeker, or anti-armor missile. And suddenly, but actually Goon is able to clean this up in spite of such good Raven usage. And, wow, okay, so, see, yes, Goon did win that fight, but I feel like he could have won it so much more handedly had he just defended. He still has enough of an army here, though, and he's going to try to push his advantage. He's fighting outside the range of his siege tank. He will retreat back into it, and he will be able to clean up all these forces at the cost of his own. So, it's so scrappy. Suddenly, he has 1 siege tank. A siege tank count is even, and Goon is gonna retreat just a little bit. I think he's just waiting for his next rally to come in. I'm not so sure this is correct. Well, actually, he has the tank lead still, somehow. Oh, he's gonna drop. Durr, it's Goon. What am I? Okay. What else do you expect? So he's gonna drop the 3rd. I think he shouldn't get too much from this, but it's a really nice positioning, and it's gonna stall out his opponent. Another interference matrix is gonna go down, and the 1 tank that is, yeah, Goon is over focusing on this command center and loses both his tanks. So that CC will act, or that orbital, in fact, will actually not burn down. Repair? Yes. Okay. So that's kind of wasted damage. A little bit unfortunate, but I mean, he did a. No, I don't like that move. I'm sorry, John. Like, he could have cleaned up a lot more army, and that would be permanent damage. As it is, he traded out his 2 tanks for what? Repair time? Floating time? Yeah, it's just a little bit, I would say, poor decision making. Like, I understand the mentality. You feel like you're in a good position, and you think you can get the kill, but just a little bit shy on that bioforce in order to get the DPS in order to finally finish the job. Ravens have been pretty effective for Dark Sense this game, I would say. And if Dark Sense does manage to win this, which he might, supply is even, and the worker count is in Dark Sense's favor. I think it really will come down to how his Raven usage has been this game. They're gonna cross paths again. Goon is going to drop over the missile turrets. He will lose a medevac or 2 before the drop fully unloads. Dark Sense is not coming back with his main force, so he's just going to commit, and we're gonna see a little bit of a base trade. There is some bio at home for Goon, but that's not enough to stop all these cyclones. The 3rd has now gone down for Dark Sense, but the main is now under threat for Goon, and that's all the production being. It's not like directly camped on, but now he can't produce tanks. It's just gonna be bio. This is very, very bad. Yes, Dark Sense is limited on his income, but if you can't spend your income, it doesn't matter, Goon. And this is looking very, very ugly. Meanwhile, these tanks have inched forward into the natural. I mean, the supply is really telling the story. Goon is desperately trying to make something out of this ugly situation. He's floating some... Actually, he's evacuating everything. He's gonna come back to deal with this if he can, I guess. I'm not sure how he plans to clean this up. Oh, I see. He wants to catch all of this out of position. There's still a pair of... Ow. Ow. There's ravens! Oh, the... Oh, those ravens! Oh, those ravens. That hurts. And Dark Sense is going to take the second map. Okay. Great play coming out of Dark Sense. Those ravens really, really, doing work for him that entire game. Looks like up next should be Lumpy versus Losting. A TVP on what map? Acid Plant? Not seeing either player.
It's like rice, chicken, carrots, Dachshund. The brown rice with chicken and some meat. Put it in the last one. So that there's some vegetables in it.
Okay, just looking to see, waiting on that game invite. We should be underway shortly. Hey Daunted, Lord of Terrans, you've been here in the game, so it's like I can say hello. Hello, Lord of Terrans. Yes, rip. Yeah, ravens are pretty good. Huh. I think this is the... It's a funny way to do the invite, but okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Looks like one player is ready and almost for our second. Yeah, it takes 2 players to play a 1v1 in StarCraft. Deep insights, oh yes. I never really know what to talk about during these, like, downtimes between games when I'm by myself. When I'm with someone, it's like, okay, I can go over analyze what happened in the game and think on the possibilities of the next game. But when I'm by myself, I feel a little bit like, I don't know, lost? I really wonder how, like, Swagger does it. He's very good at solo casting. I am atrocious at solo casting. At least those are my thoughts. At any rate, we should be starting momentarily. As Lumpy is on his computer, or laptop rather, instead of his main gaming computer. I think he was not at home or something. I'm not entirely certain. But game has started in now. We've begun that countdown, and Acid Plant should be here in a second. I think Acid Plant favors Terran, generally speaking. And yeah. Okay, spawning in the south east as the Teal Terran, representing PsiX, it is Lumpy. And in the opposing corner, as the yellow Protoss, representing PaniC, it is Losting. Okay. So. Looks like Lumpy is thinking of a proxy cyclone. Oh no, this is a barracks. Okay. Some sort of early aggression. I don't think this is for Reapers. Maybe 3 Reapers? I don't know. This is really unusual. Oh, I see. This is so that he can get the tech lab, or not tech lab, reactor out there. So he's making everything look normal. Gas steel coming down for roasting. Wow. Okay. That's a little bit unfortunate, I would say. I think Lumpy would really like his second gas if he's doing this. Oh, this is actually a tech lab. I wonder if this is a reaction to losing his gas. Wow, okay, roasting is being really annoying. He's really slowed down his own build for all this. Like, he's supply blocked. And, yeah, this is just one of those gonna be wonky starts to the game. Okay, we're gonna get concussive shell marauders coming out with some bio support from back home. I don't dislike it. I just this gas is annoying. He needs another supply depot. He is getting one now, but okay, that will finish in time. I don't know where he got the other supply. Oh, I missed these. Because I'm a great observer sometimes. Stargate is mostly done, but if Lumpy goes soon, which I imagine he will, with all these SCVs that he's pulled over here, there's not going to be a whole lot here, and I'm sorry, 2 Adepts is not going to stop this. Adepts are going to do quite nicely against the SCVs, but not the Marauders. The shield battery does complete, and that will give a lot of longevity to the Protoss force, and Lumpy is going to have to back up momentarily. He's kind of shown his hand, so this is where things get a little bit awkward. There is a factory back at home, so that is a kind of transition. It's not like like it's a tech transition. It's not a nice Oracle picking off that SCV on the what's it called? Oh gosh. I am having a brain fart. This thing. Bunker. Man. Okay. Their Marauder count is being dealt with, and actually Lumpy is in a lot of trouble. This is not looking good. The Stalker count has risen drastically, and Lumpy's... I don't see where he goes from here. He doesn't have a command center back at home. Okay, he's gonna get a siege tank and come back across the map. I feel like this was supposed to be a cheese, and then the gas steel meant that whatever cheese he wanted to do really wasn't available. And gosh, the Phoenix is gonna fly over this, see the siege tank. I mean, he doesn't need to know anything else. He sees the siege tank in the middle of the map like that. It's like, what else is Terran doing? He confirms that there's no expansion for the Terran. The bunkers are going down again, and this tank is here. That Phoenix is going to come back for that lift on the tank. And actually, it's going to go down before it gets the chance to lift. So, actually, picking off that Phoenix was really nice. There is an Oracle in production. Lumpy actually has a shot again, as he has this nice entrenched position here. These tanks are or these bunkers rather, are creeping forward, and suddenly this natural is under considerable threat. I'd like to see Lumpy throw down a CC back at home if he could. Some sort of further transition, but he actually doesn't have the minerals for it, so we'll have to hold that thought. He is getting mules, and thereby regaining his economy, as he has invested a lot of SCVs into this pull. His siege tank is creeping up. There's one immortal on the high ground. There's no sentries here, so if Lumpy were to just like balls to the wall, try and push this, there might be an opening. I'm not entirely certain. He's gonna start that bunker right next to the pylon, and that's actually going to continue to get him high ground vision for his tanks, which is really nice. He will pick off that pylon, and I think Lumpy has a really good shot all of a sudden. The initial rush was very poor, but if one all-in fails, use another all-in, so they say. And this second one is doing quite nicely. Charge has completed for the Protoss, and that's going to be the one thing here that has a shot. The Void Ray is focusing down the siege tank with its prismatic alignment, and this looks like it could get cleaned up. A lot of probe losses. 10 have gone down, but there's still a bunker with bio and 2 siege tanks here. I think Lumpy's done it. He thinks so too. He's gonna drop the Manor Mules, and I think that's just about game. Oh yeah, way too many probes have gone down. A couple more charge lots are going to get on top of this tank, but there's another on the low ground, and Losting is going to give the GG. Okay, so no sweep for PaniC. Lumpy putting an end to that. And we should be finding our next match. Yeah, so I think originally that was going to be Cyclones with like, I don't know, but then why the second barracks though? I don't know. I thought it was originally going to be Cyclones, but then maybe. So my thoughts is that like the gas deal really threw off whatever build he originally had planned, and so then the first push was like something else, and then he's like, okay, well now I have tech to siege tanks, so I can go for a different all-in. I don't really know if that was the original planned all-in. That gas deal is, I don't know, I feel like you just don't see gas deals in in TVP that often, because like both players are kind of going Y. It's not like okay, so gas stealing in PvP makes sense because Protoss is so like Protoss has the easiest time gas stealing since the probe just leaves, and then Protoss is most thrown off by a gas steal because Protoss is the most gas heavy race, particularly in the early game. But like for Protoss to gas steal the Terran, I feel like that implies that Protoss is scared of mech. That is a good question. Where is... Okay. Yeah. Gas stealing. At any rate, those are, we're gonna get another TVT. This time it will be on Catalyst. LE. It's gonna be Melon versus Kempachi. Alright. Spawning in the bottom right hand corner of the map as the blue Terran. It is Kempachi from PaniC. And from PsiX as the red Terran. In the opposing corner, it is Melon. Overall, I think Catalyst is a pretty fair map. If either player wants to push down the center, there's a couple of chokes that have to be observed. But otherwise, there's nothing too out of... I mean, even that's not very unusual for a map. So, like, it's a pretty standard map. Should not favor any particular style of TVT. Looks like we're gonna get a... It's kind of looking Reaper expand for both players so far. Neither really taking that second gas to indicate a more aggressive opener. Kempachi taking his natural just slightly earlier. I'm not sure what caused that, but anyway, Reaper has moved out. Some harass. Almost getting that SEV, but not quite. Would have been nice. Reaper is going to stay at home for Kenpachi. I like this decision given the injured state of said SCV. If this Reaper were to get in without a Reaper to intercept it, as we see here, it could finish the job and with a single grenade even, and that would be very annoying for Kenpachi. Certainly not game-ending, but it would definitely justify the slightly slower opening for Psimelian. Whatever caused it, I'm not certain. Reaper, this has actually been good attention to detail from Kenpachi, keeping his first Reaper on this ramp here, and then moving it back when the Reaper of Psimelian stopped engaging. I think after seeing the Reaper here at the front, Psimelian could have swung over since this wasn't blocked, but he didn't know that. Overall, nothing too eventful in this early game, as it's as both players have really open, conservative macro, you know, those good. Oh, I should fix the score. Kenpachi is going to pick off that Reaper from Psimelian, and so supply is even actually, so all in all, good macro coming out of Psimelian in spite of a slightly odd opener. I mean, it's not an odd opener. I mean, like, those first couple of seconds have a tendency to snowball in favor of whoever gets the, or not tendency is not right, can. Okay, we're gonna get a small pause, but I think the first, like, 2-3 minutes of a game, sometimes you can, like, if there's a significant macro advantage to one player or the other, it can show in that early stages, and then the macro player will just kind of run away with the supply. But okay, looks like both players are ready just about now. Actually, we are gonna get a supply block and call down for Kenpachi, and that's gonna give a hiccup for, or create a hiccup for him in his macro. I'm told that a supply block hurts Terran the most, due to the fact that they must queue all their did he just load 2 siege tanks? Oh no, 2 cyclones, okay. That makes a lot more sense now. I was watching that well. Marine, oh, good, I like this Marine. It's really, confirming that this path is open, and, unfortunately, the Marine cannot deal with clear out this Viking for the drop. And wow, okay, this is a little bit unfortunate. Psimelian is going to boost away, drop the Cyclones, and he's kind of been so, both players trying to drop that Cyclone, or Cyclones, But actually, yeah. Cymelon was apparently able to pick off one of the Cyclones in said drop. So I think this is going pretty okay for Cymelon, all things considered. Slight army supply for Kenpachi at the moment. Actually, is he going mech? Yeah. Okay. We're gonna see mech vs bio again. And last time we saw this mech vs bio, oh, here comes that Cyclone drop. It does get picked off by the tank. Last time we saw mech vs bio, it was mech from PaniC and bio from PsiX. And the primary thing that really determined that game was the Raven usage. Otherwise, I feel like our bio player would have done pretty okay, if not won that game. Like, if you look back at pretty much all the fights that occurred, because of the siege tank count, because of stim and good positioning, like, it was really down to those interference matrices, those anti-armor missiles that our bio player wasn't able to close it out. Instead of Ravens, we're actually going to see a superior Viking count, and that's going to give air control to Kenpachi. Kenpachi, with this air control, will be able to inch his tanks forward, and Cymelon is going to have to retreat in this case. But his own third has been mining, and it's a nice delay. This is going to give Cymelon that supply advantage, which he really does want as the bio player. I mean, you want it at all times. I suppose being up in supply is always a good thing, but I think as the bio player, perhaps more so, you're more dependent on it, I suppose. As mech can be more cost efficient. It's a lot easier to lose. I don't know. I think of mech as like not risky, but kind of it's a slower style, and so there's more opportunity for error, I suppose. That's what I'm saying. Good catch on these Hellions. Not really gonna get all of them, but picking off a few. Free damage, you know. Who doesn't like free damage? Well, I guess if you're the one taking said free damage, then you don't like it. But, at any rate, Cymelon is going to push down this alley, and I think he doesn't want to take this fight. I don't know. He's really looking to outposition Kenpachi, but Kenpachi's doing a good job matching him step for step. Cymelon is going to back off, and the scan goes down to confirm said retreat. This is actually a very scary force from Kenpachi. Kind of out in the middle of the map. Behind this, there's a lot of bio for Cymelon, so actually, it's the army for Simelin looks a lot smaller, but that's only because half his forces are back at home. So he's maxed, as he probably should be. And siege tank count is pretty healthy on both sides. These Vikings have been really good about keeping tabs on the army. Meanwhile, the Bioforce from Simelin is going to swing around to the third, as the entirety of Kenpachi's army was focused on the other side. And now, as he's picked off that third, he can rejoin his forces and go home. I was half expecting him to push, but he really doesn't need to, so he's just going to play it safe and retreat. He's secured himself a nice economic advantage as he's on 4 bases to his opponent's effectively 2. And now he's setting up his tank line, really picking off those Vikings as they're advancing ahead of the army. The siege tanks, though, are... wow, this is a deep tank line for Kenpachi. Still a healthy Bioforce. I'd like to see a little bit more anti-air, but all in all, good, or acceptable positioning of these tanks. With this planetary here, it's kind of serving as a completion to the concave. These liberators are actually becoming a nuisance as they've been routing some of these tanks, and actually they've gotten 2 already, or well, now it will be 2. There we go. And the siege tank line of Kenpachi has encroached on that planetary fortress. Vikings have come forward to clean up the Liberator, but the tanks have already gotten that command center. Meanwhile, there is a drop at the third again of Kenpachi, and this is really putting a... it's forcing Kenpachi to engage into this bio, and I think that's exactly what Simelin wants, as he will stim forward and pick off almost... no, he will get all the tanks, and suddenly, with that tank falling, or with that tank line going down, Simelin is in a dominating position. There are still a lot of Vikings out for Kenpachi, but with the, oh nice, anti-armor missile going down, and Marines stimming forward, this is, all but one for Simelin. A lot of CCs going down for Kenpachi, trying to recover that economic state of the game, salvaging a bunker, and every little bit counts. But how do you stop this? Back home, Kenpachi does have 3 tanks and a handful of Liberator Viking, so air superiority is kind of there, not really. It may be the one thing that he sort of has, but tank count is dominatingly in Simelin's favor, and the bio should be able to clean up anything else. Vikings are going to start chipping away at the air of Kenpachi. Good anti-armor missile as well, making life difficult for our blue Terran. And Kenpachi is forced to long distance mine this third, as he really can't get a good position. He's going to float one of his CCs over to the other possible third, I suppose. But should Simelin catch wind of that, he may just swing over to the other end, knock down the rocks, and take that as his advantage. For now, Kenpachi is going to kind of bully back the air of Melon. And meanwhile, we are going to see that reinforcement group from Melon getting that really last mining base, as the natural is all but dry. Wow. Okay, Kenpachi, that's ambitious. I understand why you really need it, but oh man. Vikings are going to show up and shoot that out of the sky, and that will be GG. Melon taking us to that ace match. The dream is alive. We've made it to Game 5. It looks like it will be on Blackpink. And we will have to see who Warbuff and Johnny decide to send in as their ace players. Let's see here. Looks like we shall be seeing Melon again for our ace, and we'll find out who their ace will be momentarily. So yeah, I think that was just a very clean game coming out of Melon. Really splitting the forces of Kenpachi, or splitting his own forces so that Kenpachi couldn't defend on two fronts. Good two-prong army movement, and he did a good job recognizing when it was time to go home. He got enough damage, understood that, hey, I have a strong economic lead, and all I need to do is defend, and I could send out one drop if I wanted, but the priority is to stop the mech counterattack. And he did so with distinct precision. Yes, he gave up his fourth, but he kind of took it in, I would say, the greediest location for the mech, or to stop him, or against a mech player, I would say, because like they're gonna push down that path, right? Okay, so if both players play the way they did in their opening matches, this should be pretty interesting. Dark Sense is going to come out for PaniC, and that's gonna potentially turn into another bio versus mech game, assuming both players go for the same style that we saw in their original games. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's gonna be on Blackpink. I don't think Blackpink is nice for tanks, so tanks and libs do very well here in general. But I mean, both of them are Terrans, so nothing to. Have to go fetch Simon again. Oh, where did he go? Oh, there he is. Oops. Wrong thing. I don't know what I'm doing. What the? Okay. There we go. Okay. Yay! Players are here. This is good. Oh man. Alright. Another TVT on Blackpink. Spawning in the north east as the blue Terran, it is PaniC's Dark Sense. And in the opposing corner, as the red Terran, representing PsiX, it is Psymelon. So far, both players opening with looks like a standard Reaper expand and good supply depot placement to block Reaper pathing. So very mirrored. Point of divergence will be much later. Perhaps when Dark Sense goes mech and Psymelon goes bio. Or they could just decide to switch roles. Who knows? Or it could just be like, both decide to go bio or both decide to go mech. But we're anticipating a similar style as their first games, at least so far. I mean, there's no reason why they have to do the same thing. But it works so well, why not do it again? They may have some thoughts on how to play bio against a mech style that has more ravens, or how to play mech against the two-prong. Actually, can he really go for that same? I don't know if he can do that on. Because the way he did this was he shut down the third, and the third can't really be. Cymelon may have to do something else if Dark Sense takes this third. I think if Dark Sense were to take this third, that would play into Cymelon's style more, because he can have a flank on this end while another army is threatening to get into this location. But and on top of that, these rocks could be knocked down for more maneuverability. But I think Cymelon, like, he's gonna have to do something a little bit different. I think the map is going to, assuming both players go for the same kind of compositions, I think this map is going to favor Dark Sense just a little bit. There we go. Yes, everything looks good. Yes. Okay. What is that moment as the solo caster observer where you're realizing, oh, did I set everything up correctly? I'm not actually showing the score. Oh, do I have the right overlay? As it is, it's going to be a 1-1-1 with Cyclones coming out of Dark Sense, and probably same thing for Cymelon, just kind of different variations in terms of add-ons, and actually, what is he doing with this? Okay, it's Ravens again, and we're actually up at 4 Cyclones already, so really committing to those Cyclones, as Dark Sense is kind of going for more aggressive mech composition. We'll see at what point he decides to go for, I think once he gets 3 Ravens, I think that's where he switches these buildings. Yeah, I feel very comfortable casting Terran versus Terran. Overall, supply advantage is going to Cymelon at the moment, as it should, as he is the bio player. He actually has his 3rd CC down faster than his opponent as well, so I'm liking this so far. We'll see what happens once that Raven count does get up there. Both players are kind of moving out into the middle of the map. Cymelon does have a single tank, and Viking to bat away those Ravens. I like that he's going for this push, all things considered, but I don't think he's going to really be able to get much done. Perhaps he can take a good trade, pick away at this bunker, something, you know. Good interference matrix again, and the anti-armor missile does go down. And this is not the fight that Cymelon wanted. With that Raven control, Yeah, Ravens are pretty good, especially Dark Sense Ravens. This bunker is going to burn down if it's not repaired, and it will burn down. Just barely missing that repair. So, small consolation prize for Simelon after losing all that bio and the tank for almost free. But he's caught up in supply, and his third is done. Dark Suns has actually decided to take this low ground third that I was not anticipating, given the fact that I'm sure Dark Sense saw the previous game. But, actually, there's more Ravens than there are tanks here. That is not a good thing. Simelon could be in trouble. He doesn't really have the bioforces here that he'd like. He's gonna be forced to pull some SCVs. Fortunately, Dark Sense will be forced to disengage as the interference matrix has worn off, and there are 2 tanks still here for Simelon. He's gonna have to be very careful. He's gonna notice that there are no tanks in this army from Dark Sense, and without the Ravens, he's gonna try to bully this back. But I don't know. This is really dangerous. That Raven could get another interference matrix down on that tank, and it's actually going to anti-armor missile instead. Oh boy. SCVs are retreating onto this high ground. There is some reinforcing bio, but we're losing a lot of red SCVs. Everything's been dipped in that orange tank, but it does wear off, and Simelon will stabilize, but he lost 14 SCVs in that. He does have actually, let's oops. Oh gosh. Another anti-armor missile does go down, but Simelon has enough bio to clean up this force from Dark Sense, and that's going to mean the end of Dark Sense's aggression for the time being. Simelon is actually still mining more minerals in spite of all of that, as he does have his 3 orbitals to, well, I guess Dark Sense finally does have his 3rd orbital, but it's under threat, and it will not go down as there's enough cyclones here for the time. Actually, no, there's not enough cyclones here. I am sorry. Simelon has way too much bio, and this 3rd is gonna fall. Simelon now recovering from a scary positioning, and this is actually a really, it's kind of funny to see this like battle mech composition coming out of Dark Sense. Not a whole lot of tanks, just Cyclone, Hellion, and Ravens. And I think that's really strong in the mid game, but like, if Dark Sense, or if Simelon can increase his tank count, if his Marauder force is solid, he should. Okay, I think Dark Sense just didn't know about this 3rd for some time. There's a lot of SCVs over, and that's gonna be GG as Simelon catches Dark Sense's army out in the middle of the map. Or, not middle, but between bases. So well done to Simon, kind of putting down that other mech style, as it were, and getting PsiX the win in the end. Alrighty, this has been the PsiX Yankees versus PaniC for the ATL EU Amateur Week 3 match. And if you guys saw the Hydras and Colossus stream, there was another match going on at the same time. I do not yet know the results of that, but I'm sure you can hop over and find out. Wednesday will be another ATL match, but it will not be the amateur division. Instead, it will be the Americas, and that will be our GMs playing against Scythe. Friday should be another in-house clan war between Team Kingslayer and Team Jardozer. And then on Saturday, Jardozer will be playing in a Pro Series versus Route, a ZVP. So, plenty of stuff happening at PsiX, and I will catch you guys later.